let it be, seems to encapsulate Mary's response to the angel Gabriel in today's gospel from Luke. A young girl encounters the holy in the form of an angel and has the presence of mind to listen, to question, to consider, and then to utter words of acceptance, of willingness, words of wisdom. Let it be. How is it that one so young, so unexpected, is favored by God to play such a central and significant part in the revelation and inbreaking of God, of the Word made flesh? One might expect otherwise from God. Certainly, Israel expected something quite different. And yet, God breaks in. God chooses. God chose and favored Mary, a Jewish peasant girl betrothed to a carpenter. And God also chooses each of us to be active bearers of God's good news to the world. Now, Scripture doesn't tell us much about Mary, but if we look closely, we can see how she models for us ways that we can navigate the unexpected and the challenging moments of our lives, especially those times when we sense God nudging or tugging at us or beckoning us into something for which we feel ill-prepared. Upon hearing Gabriel's declaration and not just a little bit confused, Mary takes pause to process his words, to try to make sense of them. And as the angel circles back for round 2, she listens, digesting every word. As incredulous as they are, she considers them. And then she questions, but how? How can this be? Acutely aware of her own life situation, to be told that she will conceive and bear a son had to be shocking, had to be implausible. In her worldly view, it doesn't make sense. Now, most of us have experienced disruptions in our lives, moments when suddenly everything changes. Sometimes they are welcomed, like a surprise and desired marriage proposal, or landing a new job. Other times, though, these unexpected disruptions, like a negative health diagnosis or the death of a loved one, are unwelcomed, and they can send us reeling as we try to navigate the change. But what about those moments when our lives are disrupted by things that we didn't seek or things that we didn't think that we wanted, but which beckon to us and grab our attention? How are we supposed to respond? We know that sometimes difficulty and change can bring new life and new meaning that we never could have imagined. But being a person who is willing to say to God, let it be, can feel really risky. Perhaps the invitation to us is to first listen and then to respond. Hearing Gabriel's further explanation in the miraculous news of her bearing cousin Elizabeth and her pregnancy, we sense that at that moment, Mary has become aware of something significant. She's become aware that she is not alone. Not only is God with her, but God has given her, Elizabeth, to be her companion through the journey. And so, clinging to Gabriel's final words, that nothing will be impossible with God, she offers her life and her body to God's service. And she speaks these words of wisdom. Let it be. Now, God's inbreaking into Mary's life forever changed its trajectory. pointing her towards something unexpected and unimagined, a grander purpose as she nurtures the child within, whose being will turn the world upside down and who will one day pierce his own mother's soul. When Paul McCartney wrote Let It Be, he wasn't writing about the Virgin Mary, nor religion, nor faith. The ballad and its powerful message arose from a dream that he had about his own mother, whose name was Mary, and who died when he was just 14. The dream came during a time of tension with the band The Beatles, and in it, Paul heard a message of reassurance and of comfort. He heard his mother's words of wisdom saying, "Let it be." So, my friends, as we conclude this Advent season and ready ourselves to welcome the Christ child this evening, I encourage you today, between now and then, to find a moment to pause, to draw near to God in stillness and in prayer, to listen, to question, to ponder in your heart how God might be calling you to play a part in God's continuing story. As you listen, draw inspiration from Mary's example of radical faithfulness and find strength in Gabriel's encouraging message. In a nutshell, he says, don't be afraid. God's got you. You're not alone, and nothing is impossible with God. And so in closing, I leave you with the blessing of these words from James Paul McCartney. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer. Let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer. Let it be. And then join me. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be.